Start that over again.
Yeah, start over again.
What's up, everybody? Nick here with Karma's Crops. Decided to stop in our local hydroponics store, grow store, and meet with our buddy Phil here. Owner, operator, CEO, president, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Well, probably not whatever you want to call him.
That too.
Yeah. So what's up?
Nothing. Things are good.
Yeah. We just, like I said, we want to stop in here, find out a little bit, for these folks, find out a little bit what you got going on.
Yeah.
How long you've been here, just basic
Where it all started.
things, yeah.
So we've been here approximately 2.5 years so far. Started very small, as you guys remember from the beginning, and now we're growing into it a little bit. We're getting into the season now where we're in our harvest season right now, so we're in a little bit of a lull, but that'll kick up in about another month.
Right, because basically people are coming in for nutrient, stuff to bring up, and then we're coming to the end of that right now. So
absolutely.
Yeah. What about I know there's stuff, I've seen stuff like your scissors and your trim bins, and so there is stuff for the harvest. What do you sell the most of this time of the year?
Well, honestly, lately it's been a lot of grow journals.
Yep.
We did create a grow journal, so check that out on Amazon. So that's been pretty helpful to kind of keep people in track and where they need to go and what they need to add for their additives, which is why I created it, because I didn't know from the beginning. I'm not a professional grower by any means. I just know a few things. So it helped to track everything. So that's where a lot of customers are now. They're in that beginning stage of flower and they're not really sure what they need to put in and how much of it needs to be put in, because you watch all these YouTube videos and you can see the marketing companies, they want you to put everything into it. And you really don't need to do that. It's less is more when it comes to a lot of this stuff.
Which you guys aren't going to hear from many store owners.
Yeah.
Less is more isn't a normal.
Absolutely.
We've been to a lot of grow shops over the years. We've been after this for a long time now, and you definitely are different. You're set apart just from the simple fact that the statement you just made.
Absolutely.
You're not going to have people come in here and say try to sell them that whole shelf of stuff right there, knowing they only need the one box, and you probably could cut what it says on the back into
I always recommend half of what it says.
Or half, right?
Start with half, and then you can always add a little bit more, because it's much easier, as you know, it's much easier to deal with a deficiency than it is toxicity.
Yep.
So you can always add a little bit more when you need it.
Yep. Good. Me and the wife were just talking. I don't know if a lot of people know this yet, but it's fully legal now for people in New York.
Yep.
I know it's been the talk. Some people thought it was legal for the last year or so, but it's fully legal now.
You can grow your own.
Right, and I don't know the number. Maybe six and six. I don't know
6 immature and 6 mature plants is. Last time I knew that's what it was. It's changed a couple times, but last I knew it's 6 and 6, 12 plants total, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it can be a lot.
Oh yeah,
it can be a lot of work.
It could fill up some space.
Yeah.
I mean, how many can you fit in this when you think? If you're just starting out, you're going to buy an 8-foot tent.
Yeah.
What would you tell? What would you tell these guys? How many plants would you put in there?
I always recommend a 2-foot by 2-foot space for your plants.
Per plant.
Per plant. So in this tent, you could comfortably do 8 plants from start to finish if you wanted to. I mean, depending on how long you veg them for, how big they want to get before you flip them into flower.
Yep.
There's a couple things that could vary, but you could stuff a lot of plants in here, or you can do 4 plants on each side, which is what my recommendation is, and let them get full.
Fill it right up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Because I'd rather deal with 4 big plants or 8 big plants than 16 small plants. It's different nutrient mixes. They're going to have different uptakes. It's less work for the same amount of progress.
Talking about nutrients, when you guys get here and you show up, walk through the store, there's a lot of. I'm just looking from this spot right here, and you have a lot of different lines of nutrients. So
I think we have 18 different lines currently.
18 different lines.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some come, some go, some stay.
Right.
So we're in the process. There's a couple that we don't carry yet that we might bring in. There's a couple that we're going to get rid of just because they don't sell as much.
What's your most popular right now?
There's probably 3 that are super popular right now. Fox Farm is probably the standard that's usually.
Yeah, for the last.
A lot of people see that. They're very
30 years.
They're a very marketed company.
Right. Yeah.
Advanced Nutrients is really starting to pick up on that. Gaia Green.
We've dove into the Advanced.
Yep, Advanced is a great product.
It is. It blows my mind, the whole pH.
Yeah,
perfect.
pH perfect line. Yeah.
I still don't understand how it's done.
I don't either. It's like magic. Same with the grow plants.
I've read about it and heard about it, and I can't. Either way, my pH is perfect using it though.
Right.
So if you guys are looking for a crazy line,
Advanced
I would
is
say, yeah, use that.
And the cool thing about Advanced is they have like basic lines where you can just do 3 parts or 2 parts,
Yep.
and then you can do the whole kit, which is like 12 different nutrients
Right.
in it. So if you
Yep.
want to play mad scientist,
Yeah.
that's the way to go.
Or less than that. You know, you do your 3 parts, and then you could do another 2,
Absolutely.
or another 3 maybe.
Yep.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Okay, we're pausing for a minute.
What's going on?
Just pause for a second.
Okay.
Pause.
Hi.
Time out.
They're doing a little podcast. You could come be the
No, there's no clicking.
Do you want me to turn it?
We'll just
No,
edit
we're
it
just
out.
gonna
come
keep
be
going.
the
Oh, you guys
audience.
keep going. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we are. We're still on. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
all good. But yeah, advanced nutrients. They're systems that can be from simple if you want to, and then you can play mad scientist if you
Right,
wanted to.
right, and they all work great together. You know,
Yes.
even it'll show you. You know, I got. I think from here I started buying the advanced nutrients, and you had those books.
Yes.
And they had all the master recipes or the basic recipes, and
Did you finally
know,
start to understand those a little more?
Yeah,
Like to
yep,
look at them, they're very
yep. Once
complicated.
I understood, you didn't have to go from 3 to 12. You know what I
Right.
mean? You could use those 3, and you could buy an extra 2.
Yep.
Or you decide what additives to add into there, and it's
Yeah.
all I mean formulated to. I mean it's on, dude. Like we've tried. Me and Brandy have tried a million different nutrient
That's your
lines.
favorite so far?
Oh man, yep.
See,
Yep, and it costs a little more than what I'm used to.
Right.
I happily pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
the difference is if you get a good product and it works for you, stick with that.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of people that want to switch back and forth and jump, and I did
Yeah.
it myself.
Yep.
I've tried probably 3/4 of the lines that are in here.
Right.
And right now my favorite is the Heavy 16 line.
Okay, I've used
Um,
that. Yep.
It has some advantages and disadvantages from other products, but I love it so far. I've had really good results.
Yep.
It's pretty easy to use. They
And
don't
that's
have
a
a ton of
2-part.
products.
Is that a 2-part?
The Veg A and Veg B is 2-part, and then the Bud A is
additives,
Bud
right?
E. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just those 2 additives by themselves, Veg A and Veg B alone, are better than most of the Fox Farm line
Right,
that I've used.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if you get the additives to it, they're a little more expensive, but they're worth every penny.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Now, what about media wise? Soil, cocoa. Like, what do you get people in here?
Mostly soil.
And what's your biggest seller?
Bio 365.
Okay,
The Bio
yeah.
Oil is by far the top seller, 10 to 1.
Yeah.
It's just a great product overall. It's a
So
little more
people just
expensive.
love that one.
They do.
Yeah.
And I like it too. Like that's what I switched to as well. And the nice thing is, I use it. It's very nutrient rich. It's not going to burn everything. There's biochar in there, so it helps with a lot of different things.
Yep.
But it's easy to use.
Okay.
So the way I looked at it, it's about $10 a bag more to start off, but I don't need nearly as many nutrients in the beginning that I was using.
Because it's packed into there.
Yeah, and everything works in a nice symbiosis or symbiotic way. The microbials work great. So, and then the additives that I can add to it, you don't need to, but you can to improve your yield a little bit if you wanted to.
Right.
So my conjunction with the Bio All and the Heavy 16 has been really good so far.
Right.
I haven't
Yep.
had any issues with it.
Yep, I've tried it. I like the science behind it.
Yep.
I try not to use that word too much, science. So
Yeah.
we won't get into that on this show, but this interview. But yeah, I like it. And yeah, if you guys are looking for soil, you know where to come and get it.
Yeah.
And you know that you're going to get some questions answered. This
For
isn't.
sure.
We've been to a number of grow shops, and you go in there, and they you got to know what you're looking.
Right.
They're going to ask you, what do you want? And if you're like, I don't know, what should I get? You're going to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, or you're left to the wolves.
Yeah, as you guys can see, you come here, you're gonna get some answers and some knowledge, and you've got some experience
Sure.
now. So
bit.
you've been able to try the different things and get through all that. So
Yeah, and the biggest reason I started my shop and I do things the way it was, when I first started growing, I'd walk into other shops and it was immediately they wanted to sell me the most expensive equipment, most
Right.
expensive
Yeah,
nutrients,
yeah.
and I didn't know how to grow. So I kind of started doing my own research and I found you don't need all these fancy products. And now as a store owner, I see that we have customers that don't have a budget and then there's customers that are on a budget.
Right.
And my goal is to kind of keep them guided where it's going to help them.
Right.
Like not everything is meant for everybody. I could sell you a $10,000 kit, but if I can't teach you how to grow, that kit's going to be useless.
Exactly.
It's going to
Yep.
be no different than anybody else off the street doing it.
Right.
Equipment's not going to be your make or break. It's
Right.
really watching the plant, seeing what the plant needs, telling you what the
Learning,
plant needs,
yeah,
and
learning,
Yeah,
learning
for
the
sure.
process, just like anything, almost.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, I started with 8 plants,
Yep.
and they were all different strains. And I
All
was-
at once, you did 8
all
at
at
once,
once.
right off the bat.
Yep,
Okay.
and because
Yeah.
I wanted variety, like
Yeah.
everybody else does. They all want
Yeah.
variety, and I
Yeah.
did too. But I found that I was trying to chase the problems, and I didn't know what the problem was. So now I tell people when they want to learn, start with one plant.
Yep.
If you want to do more than one, do the same
Have the
strain.
same strain.
Hit the
Yep,
same strain. That
exactly.
way you're not chasing nutrient schedules. You don't know what this plant's
Yeah.
doing, what this plant's doing. Because you can have, as you know, you can have 10 different strains and they're all going to
Yeah.
have different nutrient uptakes.
Yep.
So it's just
Yep.
about doing the
And
right
if you're
thing.
new to it, yeah, you guys don't want to do that.
No, you'll chase it around and you'll just,
Yeah.
you'll never figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, eventually you could do it, but it's going to be a heck of a lot harder doing it that way
Right.
than just trying to start with
and
one or
that,
two
that might
plants.
end up being a little bit of a turnoff. So
Right.
yeah, like Phil said here, if you guys are just starting, one strain,
Yeah,
couple plants,
that's going to be
Yeah,
the best way.
yep.
Learn to
Yeah.
read the plant more than
Learn,
anything else.
yeah.
That's what'll help.
yeah, for sure. Okay. So what'd you do before this? How long has this been open?
So we opened April 23rd of 2022, not on 420, like
Yeah.
everybody thinks and thought it was going to be, but
Yeah.
April 23rd was our
You're close.
grand opening.
You're
Yeah.
pretty close.
Yeah, because we're not focusing just on cannabis. I'm focusing on the grows itself.
Right.
Whether it's grapes or whether it's Venus flytraps or cannabis, we'll help you grow everything.
Right,
It's not
okay.
just cannabis specific.
Yep.
You know, I want people to learn growing as a whole because my journey into starting it, I had just as much therapy out of growing as I did the end result.
Right.
So that's what I want to share with people more than just how to grow weed.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Prior to this, opening this, what did you used to do?
So before this, I was a police officer for 11 years, and then I opened a construction company after I left law enforcement, which was going well, but it just wasn't my passion. It's
Right.
not anything I wanted to do. In that time period when I owned a construction company, I found the benefits of cannabis. Through personal use, I had personal issues going on from law enforcement. I had PTSD, I
Yeah.
had anxiety, you name it, I got it.
So you didn't, up until just recently, you've never even tried?
No, like I didn't smoke the whole time I was a cop. I didn't even smoke in high school.
Right.
Like there was literally no times other than when I wanted to try it. And the reason I got into it is for the medicinal side.
Right.
So after I had my issues, they wanted to put me on some antidepressants and stuff like that and medicate me. And that wasn't my thing that I wanted to do.
Right.
So I started looking at alternatives. From the law enforcement side, I knew a little bit about cannabis from that side of it, but I didn't know anything other than that.
Right.
So I started looking into it a little bit, and I found terpenes and what they can do and how different terpenes can affect you in different ways. So I immediately latched onto the DNA side of the plant,
Right.
and I saw the cool benefits that it could have and how
So
it
you
could
went,
benefit
you
me.
went to the nerd side of it.
I did. I
Right.
I geeked out
Same,
on it.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, so I found a couple strains or a couple terpenes that I thought could help me. I found the strains that had those terpenes in there. They weren't all together, so I started with those plants. Those are
Right.
the ones that I started. And my goal was
And
to
you,
be
you
able
decided to grow it.
Yes.
So you tried it.
Yep.
It helped you.
Yeah, it
Some
helped.
sort of way, or
It definitely helped. So the biggest difference that I found is with cannabis, if I have a bad day with anxiety or I'm depressed or just climbing up the walls, I
Yep.
can smoke real quick and level me out. Like I don't
Right.
try to smoke to get high.
Yep.
That's not my intent. It's just to be able to function normally.
Mhm.
So that helped where I could take my medicine, but it would take 2 or 3 days to react. So in that 2
Yeah.
or 3 days of health, essentially, until my medicine kicked in. So that's really where it helped me for cannabis and how I got into it. So I found the DNA side, and I wanted to have a plant that I could make do what I wanted to. And
Right.
with plants, with cloning, and with breeding, you can do all sorts of different stuff with
Right,
it. So
right.
my goal was originally to design a plant that works for me and my issues, so
Yep.
I could grow my own medicine.
Right. Yeah.
And in that process, what I did find it is I grew these strains, and I had just as much therapy in the growing side of it as I did the end result.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
where it really got a hold of me. So in my construction business, to come back to that, I wanted to grow and I wanted to expand and do something, but it wasn't my passion. But I really had a passion for growing at the time.
Yeah.
I just didn't have a local place where I could get supplies from.
So that's how it spurred.
Yeah,
That was
really
kind of
just
the inspiration, or that was kind of that moment
it
where
was a
you're like,
moment where I'm like, you know
"Shit,
what?
Maybe I'll open a freaking
Yeah, I'll open a hydro
Grocery
store
store.
in
Yeah.
the middle of COVID. Like,
Right.
of all
Yeah.
things, like that was my idea, and here we are. I
Nice.
mean, I think it's been good so far. I
Right,
think we're
yeah.
going to do a lot of good.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest difference is I'm coming at it from a different angle than most people are.
Right.
So I try to teach the medicinal side of things and the growing side of things instead of just teaching you weed's cool, let's get high.
Right. Yeah.
I want to show you how it's going to benefit your life.
Right.
You know, because it literally changed my life, and I want to share that with other people.
Yeah, heck yeah.
It's
Yep,
not
and
just
that's
for a-
and that's why this is our go-to place.
Yeah.
Is same day, first time we came in here, we probably talked for probably too long because we were doing some kind of a grand opening or something. But
Right.
yeah, we really clicked, and the whole medicinal side of it.
Right.
And it is also fun, you know what I
It
mean?
is,
So
for sure.
it's you know, it's a vast array. You have the whole spectrum of why
You do.
and you know
It has a
how
million
and-
purposes.
Right.
You know, like a lot of people use alcohol because they have issues in social settings, so they drink to get their relaxed inhibitions.
Right.
We could help you too with that,
Yeah.
but that's not going to be the end all be all either.
Or
you
it
know?
could put you in the
or it could send you
corner.
bad,
Yeah,
bad
away
issues.
from everybody.
Exactly. You know, like from my time in law enforcement, I can tell you, I never had to fight with anybody who was stoned on cannabis.
Yeah.
You know, the only
How many moms did you come across that sold their children to go get a dime bag real quick?
yeah, right?
Yeah,
Never.
probably not.
No, you know, that doesn't happen. You know, it's if there was issues, it was with heroin. You know, heroin's a huge issue.
Yeah,
Even
yep.
nowadays, drinking, alcohol is a big issue.
Oh, yeah,
Anytime
yeah.
I had to fight anybody, it was usually alcohol related,
Right.
or after I hit them with Narcan and they come up swinging.
Right.
So cannabis, I didn't have that issue. So
What was there a different type of issue? Like, did you have to try to get their attention, or like, whoa?
no, not really.
They probably weren't running too fast if they were
No.
trying to run from you.
And even on a driving standpoint, I know that's kind of a big taboo issue right now. Is they're like, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to tell? Are you going to give me a breathalyzer for weed? Those things have already been in place for years. Like
Right.
since I started in 2008, those things were already in place. You know, the difference is it's a drug recognition expert opposed to a regular cop,
Right.
which is a cop. It just has more training. So there's certain things to look for. But ultimately, the process itself is no different. You still have to show impairment for operating a motor vehicle.
Right.
The tests are similar. They're just going to have different things you're looking for. So that's already been a thing for a while, but I didn't have to deal with that with cannabis.
With
usually.
cannabis, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple people that were high in cannabis, but they were the 22 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone, not
Oh yeah.
90 miles an hour like
Right.
a lot of people who they drink and they get a heavy
Yeah.
foot.
Yep. Right.
You know, so I just never had issues on that side of it in law enforcement. It was always alcohol or heroin.
Yeah.
That was the biggest things we
Right.
could deal
Of
with.
course. Yeah.
So I
this
didn't.
is-
I already came in as I didn't have a negative connotation on cannabis.
Yeah.
Not because I was a user at the time. It just didn't cause me problems.
All right.
You know. So.
Now what are so you probably tell this story to a lot of new people that come in.
hmm
What's the reaction? Do you get a bigger reaction from cop, or that's fucking cool?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Kind of equal, or
I'd say now it's getting to become more. People come in because of that,
Yeah.
because they have more trusting. When I first
right.
came into this community as an ex-law enforcement officer, it wasn't welcomed.
yeah,
Put it lightly. So there's a lot of
So, like,
people.
to like the old school people that have been around for a long time doing
Right.
their thing, and
Yeah, and not
Yeah.
even, I wouldn't even say the old school guys, because those guys have been great. It's more
Okay.
like the new school, like, hey, I'm this badass grower and I'm the man and you're a cop, you're a narc, blah, blah, blah. And that's not the case.
Right.
You know, like, for me, it helped my life, so I
Yeah.
want to show that to people.
right, yeah, of course,
So if you don't like that, that's okay.
yeah,
We're not for everybody.
right.
But at the same point, I'd like to be for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I've
Yep,
come in
I
as
guess
a
that
trusted.
surprises me a little bit. I know I'd rather come in because it used to, So
Yeah.
I guess I've never seen it that way.
And I've had a lot of people come in because of it. You
Yeah.
know, like in the beginning, it wasn't very welcome, but once I started getting out there a little more, there's a couple magazines that have had articles. There's just been a couple
And it kind of
things.
was on the cusp of it becoming legal
Right.
too. Because there were so many years that everything had to be hidden.
Exactly.
you
Everything's
know.
guerrilla grows.
Yep.
Yeah, and I still have customers like that too.
Yeah.
But it's different. Like now that it's opened up a little bit more and everybody sees, oh, it's legal now, it's not a problem anymore.
Right.
You know, where 2 weeks before they legalize it, it's a problem. But now all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
but now it's
magic.
not a problem.
Yeah, it's crazy
right.
how it works. But
You know.
it's just getting past the stigma of everything, and I
Mhm.
think I'm a good catalyst in between there because I can explain to people the good and the bad of it. You
Right.
know, like
Yeah, you've seen both sides.
exactly. Cannabis isn't for everybody. I'm not going to say there's not problems with it because there is,
Yeah.
but the biggest difference is abuse. You know, like what's the difference between a drug and a medicine? Abuse, right?
Right.
So 2 Tylenol is good, a whole bottle's not. It's no different with cannabis. You know, if you get high out of your mind, you're probably going to have an issue at some point.
Yeah.
You know, but if you don't get to that point, if you can manage that, if you can mitigate that, we're here to help you so you don't go to that point.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to be to the moon.
Right.
I just don't. You know, I want to be in control. I want
There
to
you go.
be
Yeah,
able to
I'm
relax.
well past that too.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. One more thing, and then we'll cut this.
Yeah.
But other than cannabis, what's the coolest thing that you've had somebody come that they're growing?
Farmer?
Yeah, like what's the coolest thing that they've come in here to buy a product for?
So I have a 14-year-old kid. He's probably 15 now. but he has a Venus flytrap farm.
Really?
Yes, so he has all sorts of carnivorous plants. Venus flytrap's the one I can think off the top of my head. But there's a couple others that he has. I know one that has vines where it'll chase the bugs.
Yeah.
But he's a 14-year-old kid. He wants to grow. He saw my story. He wanted to come to a place that he trusted. It wasn't like a typical hydroponic shop where it's just weed based.
Right, of course.
So because we're welcoming and we want everybody to come here, like including kids, it's not just for cannabis. I don't want anybody to think
Right,
this
that's why I
store's
wanted.
just
That's why I
cannabis.
wanted to bring that up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So he's the coolest.
People grow everything. You know, it's like you said. It's like a therapy almost.
It
you know,
is.
for people that can grow stuff.
Yeah. I think it's taking
I know
something from nothing into something.
Right. Yeah. But you gotta water things. I try to tell Mrs. Karma that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, you know, she likes to get all these different plants and stuff, and they're pretty cool, you know.
Until they're not,
But I
until
said,
they're work.
you kind of gotta water them.
You see how he likes to throw me under the bus when I'm not on camera?
I think I took her mic.
Yeah,
so
that's
we're
okay.
all right. We're all right on
My
that
mouth
one.
is big enough.
But yeah, you're right. There is a lot to be said for the therapy side of it, and
Yep.
it's not just cannabis plants. Now,
Right.
truthfully, that's probably not the first, but it's among the first things I actually truly tried to grow. I mean,
Mhm.
we've had vegetable gardens that I've put a half-assed attempt into.
Yeah, we're on and off with that too.
Right.
One year we go big, one year we don't do anything.
Exactly.
You know, we've done hops. Those are interesting.
Yep, I actually just had a hops farmer in here earlier today. And he was
Nice.
telling me all about it. I'm like, that's cool. Like, it's
Yeah.
not just weed. And
Right.
honestly, like, everybody thinks weed's this big moneymaker. It's really not.
Right.
At least in my eyes, because it could be used for different things. You know,
Right.
like, I would much rather have somebody learn to grow their own stuff. Like, if you could literally grow your own medicine and you could get therapy out of it,
Right.
and then you have medicine at the end, it's a win-win
It
overall.
is. Yep.
You know, like,
Yeah.
how much money do people spend on therapy sessions or pharmaceuticals? You
Yeah.
put that into your grow,
Yep.
I'm telling you, it's not going to...
Pharmaceutical companies are scared.
They
You know,
are.
they're not scared. They're a little worried,
They should be.
and they're trying to slide in on it. You know,
Yep.
so they already see the benefits of it.
Oh, for
you
sure.
know.
Yeah, once there can be enough money made off of it, the benefits of cannabis will be
Yeah,
coming around.
right.
They just haven't figured that out
Yeah,
yet.
and then they'll be well published, and there'll
Exactly.
be journals about them. And
Which is cool right now because we're kind of in that cascade of information now where
Mhm.
now that it's not taboo, there's more information, there's more studies being done on it,
Yeah.
which is awesome
Yep.
because I think that should have been done all along.
Right.
You know, like your body reacts differently to cannabis than it does other drugs.
Right.
It'll stay in your system a lot longer. Most fast burning drugs are out of your system in 24 to 72 hours.
Right.
But cannabis isn't, and it's probably the least problematic drug on the scale right now. So why is that? Because our bodies don't expel it.
Right.
So there must be some kind of benefit for our body to keep it and maintain it. So I can't wait for those studies to come out
Yeah.
and to see like the long-term benefits. Or instead of testing for THC, let's test for specific terpenes, or let's test for specific cannabinoids for it.
Yeah.
You know, like let's
I
see
can't
how
get
our
that
body.
word.
Yeah, I know. I try.
I
all the
cannot
time.
get that word. So, yeah, don't feel
Cannabinoids.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even close ever.
That's
ever.
okay.
Any videos I do and I have to say that word, I might as well not do the video.
Nah,
I'll never get past it.
we'll get you there.
All right. Well, thank you very much for
Absolutely.
letting me come in and do this.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
We're gonna be doing some actually shows together. You know, we just wanted to get the interview out of the way.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you guys want to check somewhere out? This is the place to go. You know,
We'll help you out.
all of upstate New York. And like I said, me and Brandy have been to a lot of grow shops. This is the one. This is the one to come to.
I appreciate
Yep.
that.
All right.
If you want to come visit us, we are located in Canandaigua. It's 2477 Rochester Road here in Canandaigua, and we'd be more than happy to help you out.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Good
brother.
to see you again.